Hi, I'm Joelle Carter and welcome to my world.
Coming up, Jonathan goes diving in the Cayman Islands with Hollywood movie star Joelle Carter. Welcome to Jonathan Bird's Blue World.
Joelle Carter is an American actress best known for her role as Ava Crowder in the television series Justified, and Laura Nagel in Chicago Justice. She has appeared in dozens of Hollywood movies, including High Fidelity, American Pie 2, and The Hill. I was fortunate to meet Joelle in person at the Fort Lauderdale International Film Festival a few years ago. I was a big fan of Justified, so getting to meet one of the stars of the show was quite a thrill. A few years later, when we were considering narrators for our IMAX film Secrets of the Sea, Joelle's voice seemed like a perfect fit. She agreed to narrate the film, and we headed into Henson Studios in Los Angeles to record her part.
Life is peaceful and very long.
During the recording session, we got to talking about underwater filmmaking and scuba diving. Then Joelle said this.
When I first saw it, I said, I want to be a scuba diver. So I want to get my license. It's time. I've always had that dream, but seeing and especially seeing it on the IMAX theater or the big screen, you really just feel a part of it, like embodied. You're there with these mystical creatures doing all their fascinating things.
And of course, you know what I said. I called up my buddy Hal Wells, who owns Hollywood Divers in, you guessed it, Hollywood. And he said, come on over.
So here we are, Jonathan. I'm gonna really do it.
You're gonna do it.
All right, let's do it.
Let's go meet Hal.
JB, what's up, buddy?
Hey, Hal, how you doing, man?
It's good to see you, man.
Joelle.
Hey, Joelle.
Nice
I've heard all about you.
I've
Nice
heard
to meet
a
you.
lot about
Finally,
you too.
finally.
I know.
Cool.
Okay, so you're gonna teach me everything I need to know.
You're gonna learn to dive. Finally.
I'm excited.
He's been telling me you want to do it, so
My whole life.
you're in the right spot. JB's told me all about you. He says you're ready to certify.
I think so.
You think so? So after you did the homework, you have any questions on the homework?
Yes.
Okay.
Lots of questions about the homework, but I feel like if we put it to practice, that it might all start to gel.
Joelle has already completed the written portion of the class online, so now she needs to learn the hands-on stuff.
The mask has to fit properly because if it's full of water, you're not going to see anything. The way you're going to do this is try it on by balancing it on your face like this. Inhale through your nose. I could use that mask.
Cool.
All right, so that's what you want to do. Let's try this little one here.
Okay. We have an instructor who has a pool. And
Wow, look at that.
do our pool. He does the
That fits okay.
Not bad.
Yeah, your brains came out to secure it in place. And it matches your eyes. That fits good? Okay, great.
The old freediving mask. That is not a good look. That is definitely not a good look.
That one feels a little big.
Yeah?
Interesting.
But it has readers installed. We can do that pretty much to any mask. I have this one with readers in it. I put readers in mine. Looks great.
That's a really good looking mask, actually. That looks like it fits you well. Once she has a mask that fits, Joelle and Hal head upstairs to the classroom to learn how to assemble the gear.
The right shoulder. You did do your homework.
Pull that back.
Yep.
In.
Excellent. We're going to add little puffs of air as you're going down. equalizing your ears all the way down.
Next, it's over to the pool to start getting the feel for diving. For many people, learning how to replace a lost mask underwater is a difficult skill, but not for Joelle. With her classroom and pool work done in Los Angeles, Joelle heads to Grand Cayman to meet up with the Blue World team. There we hop on a small plane.
The car is located to the seatback dock in front of you. We have 6 emergency exits on board this aircraft, 2 in the rear of the cabin, 2 window exits.
Christine and I are super excited. We're flying over to one of the world's greatest diving destinations, Little Cayman Island. After a quick 20-minute flight, we approach the short runway. All right, we made it. It is so good to be here. Woohoo. The island is so small that the van ride to the hotel takes all of about 3 minutes. We arrive at our home away from home, Little Cayman Beach Resort. Truly one of the most wonderful dive resorts we've ever visited. After we check in, we get a tour. Located right on a white sand beach, the rooms have a terrific view of the Caribbean. There's a pool, of course, and a few resident iguanas that aren't afraid of the guests. But most important, there's a dive shop on the premises, and the dive boats parked right at the dock. For Joelle's first dive trip, we want her to go in style. With no time to waste, we want to get underwater as soon as possible. So we fill out the ever-present waivers and releases. We watch a boat safety video. Then Joelle has to rent a wetsuit since she hasn't bought one yet.
So it's the most comfortable thing you've ever worn, right?
Yeah.
It's been a couple months since Joelle's pool sessions with Hal in Los Angeles, so we head over to the hotel pool for a quick refresher. Instructor Brad Tulip-Mills will run Joelle and her friend Jeff through some skills before we hit the ocean for the checkout dives. Max is just auditing the class.
Tropical. Little Cayman.
A common way people get scuba certified is to do the classroom and pool work at home, and then finish with the open water checkout dives someplace tropical. Since Joelle and Jeff are doing it this way, Brad becomes their second instructor, taking over the class from Hal. Since he has never worked with Joelle or Jeff, this pool session allows him to gauge their skills in terms of comfort in the water and what skills might need work before they all go and jump in the ocean.
Getting there.
Yeah, well, it actually had been a while since I had done my written test and my schoolwork with Hal, my instructor in Los Angeles, and so I was a little nervous, I think. And then we got in the pool, and my mask just kept fogging up. And the big thing about, especially training, is they have to see your instructor so he can tell you what to do, because the way you talk underwater is with your hands. And I couldn't see him, and I was having trouble breathing, and so I get more nervous.
With the pool session finished, it's time for us all to hop on one of the reef divers' boats and head out for a shallow checkout dive.
And then as you go further out towards the south down here, it gets a little bit deeper.
Brad and Captain Ragnar give us a dive briefing.
First dive in open water, our maximum depth is 40 feet.
This is Joelle and Jeff's first ocean dive. If she's nervous, she isn't showing it.
I want you guys to be checking your gas. So on occasion, I'm going to give you this sign. I want you to look at your gauges and tell me how much you have.
Like most checkout dives in clear water, the first few dives can be overwhelming because new divers are not just learning new skills, but at the same time seeing an exciting new world. Everywhere you look, there's something new. So, checkout dives often involve a mix of testing skills and allowing the new diver to just swim around a little, get used to the equipment and sensations, and observe the fish. Eventually, though, it's time to do some skills. Brad has brought a second instructor, Brassy Dollinger, to help manage the two students. She's working with Joelle on buoyancy. Managing buoyancy is the most difficult skill for a diver to learn. The tarpon have this skill dialed in. Be the tarpon. Brad has mastered the art of swimming backwards to keep an eye on his students. Her mask is a bit fogged up, but Joelle seems to be having a good time. Up higher in the water column, Joelle continues to practice that buoyancy control. But all too soon, an hour has gone by, and it's time to head back to the boat. Joelle has successfully completed her first scuba dive in the ocean.
And go ahead and sit down. Yeah, you got it.
I got a little nervous. Mainly it was the mask. Good mask is, I think, the best thing to start scuba diving with, so you can see your instructor.
The next morning, we're super excited for a full day of diving. Aboard the boat, we head out to one of Little Cayman's many amazing reefs with crystal clear water. Before the dive, Brassy goes over the agenda, because remember, these are still checkout dives for Joelle and Jeff.
And then we're gonna get to use a compass today. So the way that'll work, it's just straight out, straight back.
They get a lesson on using a compass underwater, something I've never been very good at.
Go to the ladder. So you point to your ladder, you point to your ladder.
Jump on in.
Finally, it's time to hit the water. Down below, the reef is beautiful, so we're going to stay away from that. Everyone follows Brad to a big sandy spot to practice skills without the possibility of kicking the coral. First, Joelle works again on buoyancy. And while Jeff works on buoyancy, Joelle has to take her mask off and put it back on. We don't usually take our masks off on purpose, but divers have to know what to do without panicking if their mask gets kicked off by accident. A little exhale into the mask, and the water is gone. With some skills out of the way, we focus on having some fun. Brassy finds something cool in the reef. A nurse shark having a nap. It's Joelle's first shark. Nurse sharks like to rest inside the reef where they can nap in safety. Meanwhile, Christine finds a friendly Nassau grouper. Ever since a set of regulations was put in place in 2016 to help protect the Nassau groupers of the Cayman Islands, grouper populations have grown and the fish have become less afraid of divers. Now, how could you possibly want to eat a little cutie like this? Later, I discover a spiny lobster going for a hike. Spiny lobsters get their name from having sharp spines on their antennae, and they are sharp. This lobster doesn't have big claws for protection, but trust me, the spines are very effective. While Joelle is doing some more skills with Brassy and Brad, I'm on the hunt for something else to film. I find a lettuce sea slug. It's a snail without a shell, and it looks like a tuft of algae because it has chlorophyll in its body, stolen from the algae it eats to provide solar power. Think about that. It's an animal running on internal plant power. My finger is for a size reference. At the end of the dive, Joelle and Jeff should be done with their checkout dives. So the question is, did they pass?
That was awesome!
Yeah, congratulations, guys, you're
The best instructors! Yeah. Second day, new mask. Everything was working fine. We got in. There were still little nerves, but every time you dive, you learn something else. Like every time you dive, you learn, like you think you have to know it all, but as long as you're with people that know what they're doing, you learn something else, and you get more confident and more confident. And like one of our instructors, she really floats well. And they told me you're not supposed to kick. So the first day I could not understand that. It was when I stopped kicking, I'm not swimming. But you actually float, you're buoyant. And so you just use your feet like a little, you can look at the animals and see how they're doing it, or you can look at your instructor and see how they're doing it. And they actually say that. They say, look at me, see how I'm breathing. I'm breathing shallow, or I'm breathing, you know, and how I'm kicking. So I did. And it got better and better and better. And the rest is history. I got certified!
The next day, we get to go diving purely for fun. And this time, we're heading to Little Cayman's famous Bloody Bay Wall. As we head towards the drop-off, I'm wondering if Joelle will like it. It's an odd sensation to swim off the edge. We're in 25 feet of water, but the wall plunges almost straight down to 6,000 feet. Of course, we aren't going that deep. From 100 feet, I look up at everyone hovering weightless in the blue. It's fun to explore the life on the vertical part of the reef. Everything is blue until you put some light on it, and then the colors pop. There are purple barrel sponges, pink tube sponges, anemones with light green tentacle tips. The drop-off also has lots of cracks in the reef we can swim through. It's not cave diving, but it's similar. And I'm thinking Joelle likes it. Back at the top of the reef, there's a lot to see too. This is where the majority of the fish hang out. We also find a hawksbill sea turtle looking for something to eat, clearly accustomed to divers. I follow a barracuda for a shot, and it leads me out to a sandy patch. There, I find a couple of southern stingrays, but each one has a friend, a barjack swimming very closely. I sneak in for a shot. The stingray digs down into the sand to hunt for clams and worms that hide there. The jack stays close by. It doesn't appear that the jack is doing anything for the stingray. It's just a moocher, waiting for the stingray to kick up something edible. There, got something. All too soon, it's time to head back to the boat.
Everybody was excited because this is the dive on the wall. But what I found out was at the end of the dive, when you come up from the wall, there's the sand flats, and there's stingrays and eagle rays that are feeding on the sand flats, and that was the best part of the dive.
Good. So I would like to give credit to my instructors at Little Cayman Beach Resort, Brad and Brassy, because I feel like their confidence made me feel confident, and they really know what they're doing, and they made it fun. You know, one thing I just loved about it is at one point, I don't know if anybody was watching, but I just stuck my hands out and I was like, I'm flying! Because you're like buoyant in the water, and it just feels like, it feels amazing.
So now that you're certified.
Yes. Where are we going next, Bird?
Are you going to keep diving?
I'm going to keep diving! Yes. 100%. I'm so excited about it.
All right, so cave diving next?
Maybe.
Getting scuba certified is fun. Even if you don't get to do your checkout dives on Little Cayman, scuba diving often becomes a lifetime passion. Furthermore, scuba divers usually become committed advocates for the health of the ocean, our greatest champions of protecting the environment. So if you've always wanted to dive, don't wait. The time is now. Be like Joelle Carter and go for it.
Hey everyone, if you'd like to see our IMAX film Secrets of the Sea, you know, the one that Joelle narrated, here's the official website so you can find a theater near you. And also, here's another video to watch.